Hey kids, it's me again. Hope you're ready for another Video E-Blast multimedia extravaganza. I wanted to follow up and let you know a little bit more about our choral opportunities and just encourage you guys, if you haven't heard about this yet, to check out the materials that I've already put up online. If you are a singer, if you've ever wanted to be a singer, ever thought perhaps you might like to try being a singer, now is your chance. You've heard me discuss COVID choirs before. It's just a name that I gave the group to separate it from the other regular groups that we have had in season when there is no national pandemic happening. So COVID choir is what we're calling those opportunities, and I will describe them in more detail in a minute. And now I want to tell you in addition about congregational choir. So without further ado, in just a moment, I'm going to go into details about that. Got a lot of editing to do here to put this all together. If you do not care about any of this, please disregard this and do not worry about continuing the video. If you're receiving emails that you would otherwise prefer not to get, you can always reply and let me know you don't want to receive them anymore, and we will take you off. And also want you to know that if you haven't been getting emails that you would like to know more about, please check your junk box and make sure that our blind carbon copies are not going into your junk via your email server. So check those from ken@hopetoall.org and more specifically musicupdate@hopetoall.org. And finally, our sign-up process that you're going to hear me talk about is going to be done in another trial format. I don't know, we're not alpha, we're not beta, we're somewhere down the Greek alphabet at this point, by Google Forms. You'll receive that in an email, follow the check boxes, and I should be receiving that email information in a format, hopefully, that will show me who all is interested in what's upcoming. Every event will be its own individual form. I know that's a good many emails, but it's the only way that we can make sure that we get what we need in the way we need it, and we don't end up with a lot of problems down the line later. So be patient with the emails, look at them, and determine if and what you'd like to sign up to sing with, and then just go ahead and fill those out. So without further ado, I know how much you love visual aids. So COVID choir. COVID choir is the name that I've given to the groups that come in and ultimately record an anthem on behalf of a specific event. Everything is sent out over the computer that you'll need to access, download, and or print. You need to prepare at home, and then you need to make sure you understand the requirements for that specific choir. So whether it's Tenebrae, Easter, a Lenten event for Sisters in Song, all of these have specific rehearsal dates and times, and they have a specific song associated. And when that song is recorded, there's no further obligation. One more thing about COVID choirs. For those of you unfamiliar, this is our central sanctuary. And normally over here on stage left is the choir loft, which is where we would normally rehearse or even record. But with social distance in mind, and the fact that we can only light so much of this well, especially for video, we've decided that if we have more than a certain amount of people who want to record for a COVID choir recording, we'll group it into 2 or even 3, and we'll record from different places in the sanctuary, adjacent recordings on the same day in about half-hour, 45-minute increments. So you might be called to be in the group that records from here, but immediately following that, you might also be called instead to be the group that records from the center. And if we had enough people that we needed to, even after pushing furniture back, we could even strike some of the instruments on the sunshine side and record from over there. That way, when we put it all together and edit it on the screen, you see a fully realized sanctuary, and you can tell it's 3 separate and distinct groups of people all singing together at the same time. I also wanted to take a minute and show you how we've been rehearsing thus far. You can see that we have the small fellowship hall kind of set up, and granted it's been used for other things, but we've got the chairs in here distanced out based on how many singers have signed up. The 2 chairs in the back there and there are for couples, and everybody else is singled. Now, this is about maxed out at this point, but Rick has just told me that if we needed to, partially because he likes this to have storage potential still, is we're actually going to move into the large fellowship hall. Let's see if the lights go on. And we could set up in here, whether it be around the tables or moving things, so that we've got plenty of room to run rehearsals if we're not in the sanctuary. So there's no issue with regards to that either. Congregational choir is the new thing. So don't confuse that with COVID choir. Congregational choir is going to look more like what you recall choir having been, as far as coming in, sitting in the loft, singing hymns, and participating in the service in a live capacity. How this is different is that there will not be an anthem that you have to learn and come in to record in advance. However, there will always be a sign-up sheet for each individual event. For the time being, congregational choir will be put together on behalf of Lenten midweek services in the evenings only, starting with Ash Wednesday at 6 o'clock and then running concurrently for the next 5 weeks for the midweek Lenten services. The only obligation once you sign up for one or more of these groups will be that you commit to arrive 45 minutes prior to the service so that you can rehearse and warm up in the fellowship hall with the group. The reason we need sign-ups is for contact tracing purposes and seating awareness in advance so that we can always be sure to maintain social distancing. Okay, so bear with me here, folks. Here I am at the podium. I'm going to get up and turn around. So now this is our usual choir loft, and I realize things are torn up a little bit. So you're going to have to envision a few things. But let's take a look and show you exactly how many socially distanced single spots we can accommodate. So if I walk back here, as you can see, this tape's down, but the back row is unavailable. So it's starting with the second to last row, we have 1, 2 in the other end. Then the next row is actually cordoned off. And here we are, this row, 3, 4 in the middle, 5 on the other end. And the next row is also cordoned off. So now we're at the floor. Now we've got, I think I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we are at 6, 7, 8 if necessary at the organ in front of it, 9 over here in the very end, moving back towards the podium, 10, 11, 12 where that L is, 13 right at the wall, 14 right at the wall back between those other two, 15 right here in front of the podium. Now here I am again so that you can see where I am. 16 on the other side of the podium, 17 at the wall in between, 18 right here, and you see I moved the piano. Now here we are going over to this wall, 19, 20 on the actual step itself, 21 down in front, and then where these tables are is 22. So that's 22 single spots. Now keeping in mind that some of our singers are couples, obviously that gives us more options, and depending on how many couples we have, we can get as many as about 30 to 34 singers up here in the choir loft comfortably. So keep that in mind as you're considering your options for the choirs that are upcoming, particularly the congregational options. All right? So if we have the problem of so many people that want to sing that we can't fit in the fellowship hall or even the choir loft, we always have the potential off hours of using the pews themselves. We've done this more than once for the cantata, and it's certainly easy enough for me to roll the piano out front. So as you can see, there's plenty of space safely for us to sit and rehearse if necessary. Also wanted to let you know that with regard to congregational choirs on Wednesday evenings for now, if we had more than our 30 to 34 people max, we've been told that we could actually be given section 4 here over by the organ and socially distance and sing from here instead of the choir loft to accommodate more people. The more the merrier as far as pastors are concerned. So I just want to make sure that you knew that we had an option for that as well. So now that you've heard me talk about COVID choirs and congregational choirs, what are the real differences? Well, if you look here, COVID choir, the material is not really hard, certainly not in comparison to some of the difficult music that we've done in the past with Voices of Hope. Congregational choir, it will be easy, usually one part only. COVID choirs, what are the rehearsal obligations? Well, first I'm asking you to learn a specific piece at home in addition to coming in for a limited commitment to in-person rehearsals before a recording is scheduled that you need to be at. Congregational choir, there's no other rehearsal aside from coming 45 minutes prior to the service in specific. Is there a sign-up sheet? Yes, there's a sign-up sheet specifically and independent for each event, both on behalf of COVID choirs and congregational choirs. Are they recorded? COVID choir is the group that records their anthem in advance so that it can be presented on screen. Congregational choir does not record at all. Live. COVID choir does not sing live, aside from rehearsals. They're only on recording. Congregational choir will only sing live during services to facilitate congregational participation and song leading. Are there limitations to numbers for either group? At this point, there are not, as long as you fill out the sign-up sheet and I know to expect you. We will worry about the details regarding amount of interested people. In addition, I want to let you know that there is no precursor for having been a part of a choir in the past, whether it was men's, women's, or mixed, whether it was Voices of Hope weekly or cantata choir once a year. Even if you've never sung with us before, this is always an opportunity for you to join us, even on behalf of one event only. In addition, if you'd like to sit with your spouse, particularly during the congregational choir, whether or not your spouse is quote-unquote officially a singer, I have no problem with them sitting beside you, taking up a seat that otherwise would not be filled since they share your household, and having them mouth the words alongside from you while we sing from the choir loft. So if that's something that you've always looked into wanting to be able to do, or your spouse doesn't mind looking out at the rest of the people in the congregation, feel free to consider that as an option as well. I hope that was the right amount of information, not too much, not too little, and that you have a better understanding now of what our opportunities are upcoming in the next few weeks and even months. So keep that all in mind and know that we would love to see you singing with us for one or more of the opportunities that we have coming. And I just want you to know that I'm continue to pray for you and hope that you're safe and taking care of yourself. And if at any point you do not feel well, even if you've already committed to show up for something, please stay home and take care of yourself. Only come when you are better and when you are testing negative. All right, take care.